So everybody signed in?
Yes, sir.
Everybody has a name tag, I see. Great. Great. We'll get started here in a few minutes. If you don't have a pen, I've got plenty of pens over there by the sign-in desk. Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure. There you go. Does anybody need a pen?
Thank you very much.
Welcome. You're welcome. We might get started a little bit early. We'll wait for little stragglers to come in. People may have to come a little further. We could start some introductions a little bit. So if you don't mind, you can always say pass if you don't want to. So tell me about yourself. You can stand up if you want. You don't have to. Your photography experience so far?
Okay, well, my name is Manita, and I am still sort of a beginner. I've worked with cameras all my life, but I think this is probably the first solid year, that I've actually taken it seriously and gotten to know what it is to really be a photographer, and all the science behind it. So I typically do nature. That's what I started out with, and I transitioned to portrait. So of my friends, people's birthdays and stuff like that. And I did parties, and now I'm getting into creative type photography. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You want to?
Okay,
Great.
Virginia.
Virginia?
I've done photography all my life, much to the dismay of my family. Mom's got the camera again, so I am in the photography group with a meetup group. I've been doing it all my life, but I went from a 7 to a 15 for this, and this is DSLR. I am now looking at mirrorless, but I've been doing that. I've been with the group several years. I've been doing it for a while, and so I'm slowly but surely getting more experience and everything. There is a pretty cool class here at the library, at these libraries, and they have digital people. So what I'm doing is trying to learn.
What exactly are digital people?
This camera has actually got a lot of pieces that are mirrorless and the upper levels.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand now. But I would say I do a lot of everything. I'm more into street photography and nature and historical stuff. So it's a learning process.
Well, thank you,
But I'm
Virginia.
glad you did this. This is really
Yeah,
good. And you
yeah.
gave us a nice handout.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Either one of you all?
Hi, I'm Himaja. I'm a beginner. I'm trying to learn how to take nature photography, but currently I'm still in portraits. I've started doing this from last year. Basically, I'm an engineer, so yeah, I'm trying to learn and do that as well. Thank you.
You primarily iPhone for now, or you have a DSLR?
I'm currently using Fujifilm X-T5, but also I'm very much interested in macro photography.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Great. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing that.
Hi, I'm Barbara. I am not a photographer, but my brother was.
Okay.
That's about and I'm just curious to know how I can use my phone to take pictures that I don't have to then trash.
Absolutely. I got you. Thank you for sharing.
I'm Donnie. I started taking photography seriously like within the last 3 months, I will say. But I've been taking photos, on the iPhone, and I had a camera before, and we've taken it for years for pictures and all that. But right now, I'm more into like sports photography, and that's why I like the actions. And but I want to dip my toes in everything. I want to dip my toes in weddings and baby pictures and all that. So.
Okay. Awesome. Versatile.
Hello, my name is Chris, and I'm riding off the coattails of my wife. She's a doctor, and I thought it was cool. So I was telling John, telling him that the first time I bought a camera, I went overseas, took a bunch of photos. He went to that way back on that steeple. So I decided to take some courses in that in 2001, and learning to
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Monica. Same as Lisa, my last name. I've been doing photography since I was pretty much a kid. It was a hobby, and I just had an eye for it. Found that I was good at it. I actually sold some of my pictures. I've done weddings. I did my own wedding book. I got married in Puerto Rico 2 years ago. Absolutely gorgeous.
How did you shoot your own wedding? I want to know that.
I
How did you shoot your own wedding?
No. Well, let me backtrack that. So, I have the photo book in my car actually. I did different, like photos throughout the city.
Oh, okay.
In the book. And then as far as with my guests, I had them take pictures and, all email them and text them to me.
Ah,
Took
okay.
those from them and enhanced them along the way.
Nice.
I actually got some really good shots even on my own. The night before, we had rented the San Castilla for our actually wedding venue. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Puerto Rico, but they have small hurricanes every day. And of course, they had one the night before my wedding. So I was able to spot a park from our balcony. And we ended up getting married there, and it was actually better than what we paid to rent.
Oh, wow.
So luckily I got a refund. But yeah, it was really nice. So I found that I'm really good at it naturally.
Awesome. That's awesome. I was going to say, is that the first selfie wedding?
Hi, my name is Raja. Basically, I don't have any experience. I just iPhone user, so zero basics.
That's okay. That's all right. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Holly. I'm in the same boat. Very little experience. Have a camera, know how to turn it on, and want to go from there.
That's a good. That's a good start.
Don't read the book that came with the camera for instructions.
Okay,
That
good.
was written by, an engineer who doesn't.
An engineer.
I'm not kidding. But you want to get one of the other books at Barnes and Noble or Amazon,
Okay.
you know,
Good to know.
the book for dummies to operate your camera.
Yes.
Makes a world of difference. No, but that's how we all started.
Hi, my name is Roberto Rico. I do food photography, but I want to get much better. I do Italian and Latino food.
Oh, nice. Spicy pictures then.
So, guys, go back.
Yeah, watch those spicy pictures.
I'm Maureen. I got my first digital camera probably about 15 or 17 years ago, right before I went to Germany. And a friend of mine, I said, I don't know how to work this thing. And I looked at the book and I couldn't figure out anything. A friend of mine said, just put it on A and go. So I did, because I was like leaving a few days later or a week later. But then improved, got one of the books that tells you for dummies how to operate your camera. I upgraded my camera. I like architecture, animals, botanicals, travel, do a lot of traveling. So
Nice.
my office has got all my pictures hung up that I've taken. Some are great, in my opinion, and some are, okay. But it was a good memory, it was a good trip.
Sounds like you should visit Lewis Skinner. You got all
I've
the
been there many
all the
times.
botanicals and some architecture mixed in there.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Pam. I am definitely a beginner, but I do have a camera and I work as administrative assistant at a school, a really small school. So one of my jobs is to just go around and take pictures of the school day, and so just trying to improve and get better and take really good quality photos.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate the fact that you're like trying to get better at your job. You're just like, I'm getting paid. It doesn't matter. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, but I appreciate like everybody coming out, and being vulnerable enough to say, hey, I haven't taken any pictures at all, or it's just starting. So everybody's got to start somewhere, which is it's a cliche, but it's the truth. So that's not one of my pictures. That's the background from my MacBook, but. I think we can get started. I don't think anybody else is going to show up. And if they do, then they can show up a little bit late. So we can get started and we'll have more time to run through some stuff here. So let me pull up my presentation here. All right, here we are. And present. So we have, so this is me, Matthew Brown. I have a company called Created Photography. So I graduated from VCU in psychology, of all things, way back in the day. I didn't put the year up there intentionally. And I worked in a law firm for 30 years. So I think two things with that, psychology has helped me to understand people and try to work with people, clients and things like that over time. Things that, if you're ever going to work with people at all, like for portraits or clients that you're working with in any way, trying to understand their perspective a little bit is really big. And photography, if you think about it, is all about perspective, right? So understanding the perspective of the subject and then your own perspective and how those two things meet. So the legal work that I did prepared me for the use of drones in my photography. So I have a drone license. If you fly any type of drone, doesn't matter if it's this big or this big, you need a license to fly it commercially, right? Meaning even if you created your own YouTube channel and you're getting views and it's paying you 10 cents, if you're using your drone for that, that's commercial use, okay? So if you're a real estate agent and you're selling real estate, but you've got a drone and you're gonna fly it above the house, that's commercial use. So when I know these things, it helps me protect my clients that I work with over time. So it's something to think about if you ever were pursuing photography as more of a career and not just a hobby. So a little bit about me. I got 4 names: Matthew Richard Overton Brown. All my family has 4 names. We gave them all 4 names. So, and then my sister's a real estate agent and my brother's a real estate agent. So I grew up in the 80s with the best music ever, right?
And you heard Quincy Jones died.
Well, these are some of my first photos that I ever took with my kids. So this is my daughter over here, and my daughter over there, and then my wife in the middle there. So some of the first pictures I took with like my crude rudimentary lighting, like 23 years ago. So here's a little video, kind of about my business.
We believe that.
Okay, we won't watch that because it's messed up. So anyway, so let's get started. So yeah, exactly. Sometimes the Wi-Fi. Yes. So most of you may know that natural light is going to be the most flattering, as long as it's not direct. So like these windows right here, as long as the sun wasn't shining directly in, then this will be a perfect spot to take photography, take pictures in this light of a window that's not direct sunlight. As you can see on the face here, it creates a nice gentle glow. That's my mother and my daughter there. And it's diffuse generally through a window. And then overhead light, like in here, and I brought this light here so you could experiment later. If you go under like direct, it's not flattering. And the reason it's not flattering is because the eyes are hidden. One of the most important things about taking pictures of people in anything you do is the eyes. So like, there's that saying, the eyes are the window to the soul kind of thing. So if you can't see the eyes, it makes people look creepy. Yeah, and not flattering. So harsh, unflattering, there you go. Now, side light. This is my dog. She's just, I had the blinds open partially on the window, and it's creating this side light that comes in and looks dramatic, right? You can still see the eyes partially. So that's something that you can consider, like blinds. If you have a house with blinds, turn those blinds and let the light partially come through, and you can get some really interesting effects on the subject. So how many of you all know this rule without me telling you what it is? Raise your hand if you know what the rule of thirds is. So what is the rule of thirds?
I think it's, you're looking at the squares. You pick the reception, you put in one of those squares, like the eyeball would be on, if I'm shooting a straight on facial shot, the eyes would be on the line. Be on the upper, and then be the third.
Yeah, so roughly in that area up there where the top third, that is generally where the face would fall, with an eye crossing one of those marks.
And then, I guess when you shoot in landscape, then you have the sky, the land.
But you see how this shot is using the rule of thirds, but it kind of breaks the rule a little bit. So it's the action is in the center third, right? But then it's broken up into those three areas. So when composition, you have to think about your framing and the line of your eyes. Where are your eyes moving towards? So in this shot, when I framed it up, I'm using the train and the light it's pointing towards the tree. And then your eye, always in photography, your eye is always drawn to the brightest thing in a picture. So put that bright thing in a place where it can kind of create a circle back into the picture again. So the brightest spot is sort of that bluish area there, so it draws you in with these lines. Your eye is naturally going to follow the trees back out and then kind of complete the circle there. And it's interesting because it's kind of the same thing on the bottom where it's completing a circle back into the image again.
In that case, you also get most of, if you're concentrating on the train, if you did it in another way, you would be blocking, but you get most of the picture.
Yeah, so if it
Like
was
on the
a...
side, it's not obstructing your major subject area.
Right, right. Yes, you got it. So we're going to take a second here, and we're going to actually like practice a couple of those things that I just said. So take a moment, like you can, each of you can, like, some of you go outside, take a few pictures in natural light. Come over, you can use my light right here. Some of you take some pictures like with, a different angle. I'm going to set up another light over here so you can practice and see, like on a face, like what it's really doing. So you really have a good understanding in your cameras. And I'll walk around and I'll like point out some things on your cameras to help you with some of those settings too. So we'll give you about 10 minutes to do that. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So feel free, like I said, to come over to the light over here. I'll turn it out this way so you can actually use it.
I actually wanted to get my book and I wanted to get your advice over some of the shots later.
Yeah. Yeah, use each other as models, and yeah.
I'm trying to avoid that picture, right? Like from the grab someone. Let's see. Like that.
Yeah, you can use the light. If you step outside, then you won't get any of the reflection.
Yes.
Because there is reflection in all this area. Just keep that in mind, because any light in the room is going to be reflecting off these windows. So if you actually step out onto this little portico, then you can get that natural light feel. And then actually when you're in here, if you make some adjustments to your camera, you can see the harshness even of just this overhead.
Do you shoot on any, what do you shoot on?
So-
I usually just like what you were saying on the A.
Hey, yeah.
So what I would do is move it over to this.
So this is aperture?
Yes,
priority?
aperture priority. So what you're going to do is, is there a dial for the aperture on this one? I guess it's this.
Oh,
It
yeah.
must be this dial.
Yeah.
Is that changing it?
Oh, it says choose the autofocus. I don't know. So if I choose that as an object, but
Okay, yeah, that's changing the aperture. Okay, so yes.
oh,
So,
it is okay.
so the aperture's right there. It says F.
F9,
So
yeah.
go outside, take some pictures, and move that aperture back and forth, and see how it changes the light.
Okay.
And I'm going to go over some of the things about.
You really need to get used to shooting through here, not
Yeah.
looking there.
Yeah, that's typically what I usually shoot
Yeah,
through.
I can see. Just make them all over.
You have any questions, like with your camera or your phone?
Yeah, like, any comment on this one?
Get you from like standing directly.
Yeah, so when you're kind of standing, you can see the lights at the back of your head, right?
Yeah.
But and so that's creating these. You see, they call these highlights on the back of on your hair here and here. So what that's telling you is the light's not really falling on your face at all.
Okay.
So
Good.
for photography, what you want.
Thank you.
So like, let me show you. See the way the light is falling on his
Yeah.
face, right? That's what you want.
That's
So.
what it should get, yeah.
So what you would do is, for this image here, you could come and then bring yourself around, right?
Yeah.
And so as you're facing into the camera here,
Yeah.
this is a better light. But then see, once you start moving towards the light here, you see the light,
Brightness.
well, the brightness increases, but also the harshness around the eyes
Yeah.
and the shadow. So like when I hit the picture there, there's, well, number one, you can hardly see my eyes, but there's a deep shadow there,
Yeah.
right? And it creates this darkness around your eyes too when you're looking up like that.
Okay.
So you want to, when there's a light that's controlled like this, then you can, the easiest thing to do with a light like this, if you're going to use it for a photograph, is just move closer to it or farther away, right? So if you're moving closer, yeah, so you're moving, you're adjusting the light just by physically moving towards it without doing anything to the camera.
Okay.
So when it's like any subject that if you're gonna be in a room like this and it's very brightly lit, well, just kind of move, if there's a bright light here, move a little bit further from it, and then you can tilt your face around to find the light and see what's creating this harsh image on me here.
Yeah.
See the shadow right there. You can see the harshness of the light that falls across my face, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that will dissipate the farther I am away from the light, right? But if I'm so the closer I get, the harsher the shadow on one side. The farther away, it's not going to be as harsh, the shadow, right? So again, you can go back here, and then we'll move you closer in, just to the right place right there, and you look up. So there you go. And then, so it's nicely lit across the face, and So if it's a light you can't control, and you're trying to do it quickly out with your one hand, move yourself closer or further away from the light to control it.
To figure out which one is better. So where you
Right. So if you're here and then you're using a phone like this, and you have the ability to, you can move your slider up and down and adjust the light. You see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
That's called exposure compensation. So you're changing the exposure with that little up and down thing. So you can control it with there, but then if you're not going to try to do that and you're just going to let the camera do it, it's moving back and forth closer to the light. Now, with yours, are you, what dial do you keep it on right now?
I have one.
So you're doing manual?
Yeah.
Okay, and you feel comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Good. And so what is the, what kind of ISO do you usually keep it on?
Auto.
Auto ISO?
Unless
Okay.
I'm shooting like basketball and stuff where you have to change ISO to crank it up to give that less of a grain and whatnot.
Right. Okay.
8,000, maybe 10,000.
Yeah, if that's what works. Do you have a question?
No, I just wanted to show you. I guess I could have gotten closer.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can get, yes.
Let me see that.
And then,
I want to see it.
There you go. That's definitely a beginning. So when you're looking at the images, and this is something we'll go over later too, which is, so hold that up. So think about everything around the person too. So like, do you really want this pole here? So like,
that was an integral part of it. Yes.
my point is, like, think about like
Right.
everything in the frame.
Yeah.
We'll go over that.
Yes.
But it's, the lighting's good. See, right now we have this time of day, it's completely cloudy, and that's called diffuse light, and it's great because it's like, it's sunny, but it's cloudy, and the light is being diffused by the clouds. That's a great time
It's
to
a
take
good
pictures
thing.
outside.
Yes. Thank you.
Everybody's out doing their,
Outside having a great time. Picnics and everything.
well, good. Well, I'm going to cue myself up for the next segment here. All right, so we're going to move into the next part of the exercise while we're doing this. I'm going to walk out there. But so go ahead and start thinking about the rule of thirds and take some pictures. and leading lines, and then your framing, okay? Framing with like objects and doorways and things like that. So we're moving right into the next exercise, which is like, so start thinking about your pictures, wherever the lighting is, to set up the rule of thirds in it,
Yeah.
and then use leading lines, and then also frame things, like in a doorway, have someone standing in a doorway, or framing like in between some bushes, or, you know, so think about where you're framing things. And we'll run through these exercises while everybody's kind of spread out, and I'm going to walk around and talk to everybody.
I know I can always go back, and edit it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, you got questions?
Well, I was just thinking, like, definitely will need more practice, like, using the aperture or, like, I guess focusing a little bit better, like, using this.
See, I shoot on manual, so
Yeah.
I can help her with manual.
So I'm not super familiar with this camera, but like, I guess this is your focus area. You move it around, and that's deciding what your focus area is.
Yeah, and then when I was looking through here, like, when I took this one, I had a really hard time for it to actually focus on that. Like, it wanted to focus kind of down here.
So there's probably a setting in there that like you can change the size of the focus point. So change it down so it's smaller.
Okay.
Like I put
Like
mine.
center weighted?
So so that's still another automatic kind of. But yes, center weighted is an option.
Yeah. Okay.
But you want single point. It's called single point.
Single point. Okay.
And then take that single point and move that to the thing that you want sharp focus
yeah.
on.
Okay.
And in a person, it's always like the corner of the eye right here.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. The corner of the eye. All right.
But if you
Yeah,
get a
like,
book,
that was
it'll help
blurry.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh wow, I never had that problem with the auto, but like I can definitely tell, like, if you want more focus on specific things, that aperture would be.
Yeah, aperture priority is going to change your depth of field.
Yeah.
So it's going to and we'll talk about that in a minute.
What do you shoot on normally?
It depends on what I'm shooting. Yeah, it's if I'm shooting people and I don't want any much background, I might shoot it like f1.8 or f2 point something.
No, manual, aperture, or shutter?
Oh, manual.
Okay, yeah, I do too. I was, after I got over the A and the P in Germany, then I met a friend through the photography meetup groups and the camera club, and he said, we need to teach you how to do manual. It's like, okay. That was very scary. Now I think
It can be intimidating, yes. But it's ultimately about having control.
right.
Yes,
and
yes.
doing what I want to do, not what the camera wants to do.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yes.
So not knowing anything about any of the things, is
Yeah,
auto
yeah.
the way to go with most stuff? Like,
Okay, so we'll talk about this a little bit coming up. But what I suggest for most people to start with is start with aperture priority AV. So
Okay.
what this is going to do is you're going to have there's one of these dials, probably this one. You'll be able to move your aperture. And do you know what the aperture is?
no.
Okay, so so your lens has a shutter that closes,
Okay.
and the size of that closing or opening is called an aperture.
Okay.
So the larger the aperture opening is weird. The larger the aperture opening, the smaller the number. So like an f2, f3, f4 are small numbers but large openings.
Okay.
And when you have large openings, that means you have less depth of field.
Okay.
And the depth of field would mean, so if you have like, if you're setting it at f3 or 2 or 1, then if you focus on this, only this will be in focus. Everything else would be out of focus.
Okay.
That's depth of field.
Okay.
So you want a lens that gives you the best depth of field, which means a smaller number, 1.8, 2, 2.5, 3, those numbers.
Okay.
So this one, I'm not sure what this is. Oh, no, that doesn't say what it is. Let's see here. This is Canon. So is it turned on? Yeah, it is turned on. Okay, so 5.6 right there. That's what you're set at now. And then, so you can change that by turning this number. So,
Okay.
so F4, when you're looking through it on this, so you see how that bottle was in focus right there, but she's, oh, this isn't touchscreen. This is out of focus.
Okay.
So it's because that's the most shallow depth of field that you have in this camera, F4, right? So if you changed it and you're changing it to, let's go back to F, the higher numbers, like 22,
Okay.
that means that little opening gets super small, right? Which means that the depth of field increases exponentially.
Okay.
But think about if the little hole is getting smaller, how much light is getting in? Less and less light, which means you need the camera, when you set it on aperture priority, it's going to adjust the other parts of the camera so that the image still works.
Okay.
I'll go over some of that
Okay.
in a few minutes.
Okay.
Hopefully I didn't confuse you. Hopefully I made it better. All right. All right, so we went over some of these things, and y'all keep on snacking. So with your smartphone, you have, if you tap on the screen, normally with most smartphones, does anybody have an Android? Or everybody use Apple?
No, I have
Android, okay. I'm not sure if it's the same thing. Probably tap on the screen to set the focus point.
Oh, on the camera?
On the, I mean, you're not really using you're using your DSLR.
But I do use this as a backup sometimes.
So it's generally like almost all smartphones, you tap on the screen, that's going to set your focus point for your cell phone, right? And then you tap on the screen and you start to drag your finger either up or down on the smartphone. And when you drag your finger down, you are decreasing the exposure. You're making an image darker. And the opposite, you're going up, you're letting in more light, you're making the image brighter. So like if you just take your cell phone, you tap on it, look somewhere, tap on it, hold, go up and down, you'll see that's exposure compensation. You're changing how much light, what's really not changing the light. It's because it's all controlled by computers and things. But you're basically making the camera think that there's more light and less light, okay? You're controlling the aperture. So if you don't know how to turn on your grid lines on your cell phone, I can show you how to do it. Does anybody need me to show you how to turn on the grid lines on your cell phone? It's pretty, you just go into settings on your, go into settings on your phone. It's the little gearbox. And then scroll down till you get to camera, which is kind of most of the way down on the phone. And then you hit camera, right? And then you hit, see it says grid right there, and you turn it on.
Great.
So does anybody else need a hand turning on the grid lines on the phone? Do you want to turn them?
I've got camera here, but
All right, so camera right there, touch that, camera. And then, actually you're in privacy and security.
okay.
So let's go back out to here, and then scroll down to camera right here.
Oh, with the music.
And then say grid, so we'll turn it on right there, and you're done.
What does level do?
So a level, if you turn that on, and then you hit your camera app, it's going to tell you where level is when you hold your phone up. So turn your phone.
Okay. Oh, it would, yeah, okay.
So there's a little crosshair there, you see?
Right here, that's
Yes,
level.
yes,
So if I don't have it level, it's gonna.
yes.
Just, okay, cool.
Yeah, you turn, they're on now. The grid line is turned on. Yeah, yeah. So you can just swipe up to close it. And then, yeah, you're good. So it should, if you push the camera now, the grid line should be there. Yeah, there they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is, so I don't know, this is just kind of a side tip for people with cell phones. So like if you have your cell phone and you're looking at it like this, right? And you just kind of swipe down from that right-hand upper corner, you can get to your camera like right there. Okay, so just swipe down and your camera's right there. So that's just a quick little tip in case you didn't know. So here we go. So we're use the grid lines and then portrait mode. So portrait mode is on almost every smartphone now. So when you got your camera app open, you go to the bottom down there on your camera app, and you can slide the little slider from photo to portrait, okay? When you're using that portrait mode, it's kind of like changing the aperture on on DSLR, okay? But it's doing it with computers. It's doing it with like machine learning and all this other stuff, right? So it's not super reliable. It's pretty good with faces, but you have to use it in a generally pretty well lit area. It's not great for doing anything that's like has like not enough contrast. If there's like if you're trying to get somebody and they're in a group of people and use portrait mode, it may mess it up. So like it's good for individuals, maybe 2 people. So I would suggest to try out that portrait mode as much as possible if you're going to be using cell phone photography. Try it on objects, try it on people, try it on plants, try it on different things. Then the other kind of thing that people don't know is when you go, if you take a picture in portrait mode, then you go back into your photo and you hit edit, you can control that, what they call the f-stop on it, after. Like, so you can edit that portrait kind of digital thing afterwards when you're in the edit app.
But can you use that edit mode for any photograph? Because I keep going back and lighting up my photos.
Oh yeah, you can use the edit. You can use any of the those things for any of those photos. Yes. So let's see here. What was I doing? Yeah. Okay. So again, we were going with that, but then down at the bottom, if you wanted to, I think this is in your guide also that I gave you. There's an app I like to use is called the Skylar Luminar app, and of course Adobe has a Lightroom app. Those are both on the desktop and on the smartphone, those apps, and those just kind of give a little bit more in-depth, being able to edit images a little bit more professionally, I guess you could say, but just a little bit more detail than the iPhone and the built-in apps for the phones and things like that. All right, so we'll talk about DSLRs for a second here. So on your DSLR, you have 3 things that really, really affect an image the most. And that's your shutter speed, your aperture, and your ISO, or ASA it used to be called. So the shutter speed, so anybody want to volunteer? It seems obvious. What is shutter speed? Anybody?
How fast the shutter opens to allow light to come in to take your picture. The faster your shutter speed, you can take somebody running and get them crystal clear and sharp.
Right. So yes. So think about that. So if your shutter speed is increasing, is there more or less light available to get into the camera? Less light is able to get into the camera because the shutter speed is quicker, so it has less time to get in. So that's a crucial part of this, understanding this kind of the way these things related. It's called the exposure triangle, okay? But we'll get that in a second. The aperture, as I was explaining before, so an aperture is, it just means an opening. So an aperture is, imagine is a circle inside your camera, right? And as the circle gets smaller, right, then, or larger, so what we call a large aperture is actually a small number. The F goes down, like an f1.6, f1.8, f1.4. Though that's actually a large opening. And so when it's letting in all this lots of light through this large opening, what it's not allowing the camera to do is get a clear focus on everything, because light, when it comes in there, it transverses, right? And so if you're taking a picture of this water bottle, if you have this large opening, it's only going to be able to focus on a single point. That light will only focus on a single point because of that aperture, right? But if you have a smaller aperture, as it gets smaller, then the focus gets greater, right? So it wouldn't just focus on the bottle, it would focus on everything in the room if it's like f22. But then again, think about when that aperture gets super small, how much light's coming in? Less light, right? And then your ISO on a camera it's based on when we used film. So when we used film, the film was sensitive to light. And so that light sensitivity was chemically in there. And so when you bought film at different ISOs because it had different sensitivities. Well, we've carried that over to digital, and it really doesn't, but it's kind of like the best that we can talk about. It's related but not related. What we're related to now is with your ISO, we say that if you push a higher ISO, the pictures get grainier, right? Full of noise, we say. So as you push that ISO up beyond 800, then it's trying to draw in like all the light it can. It's like a big bucket trying to draw in every bit of light. But it's like that big bucket's just full of a bunch of water that you're like indistinguishable from any other drop of water, right? When you get that ISO down to like 164, right? It's letting in, it's less sensitive. So it's actually like looking at those individual drops of water in the bucket, I guess you could say, kind of. Again, but these things are all related to each other. So if you pushed your ISO all the way down, so it's less sensitive, you pushed it to like 100 ISO. So it's not as sensitive to all that light. It's more like you've got a little teacup here, and it's catching just a few drops, right? Well, if you're only catching a few drops, what are you going to do to try to get water into that little cup? So you could control your shutter speed so that, like, if your shutter speed is longer, then you're allowing more light to potentially get into that little cup, right? If light is like flowing, and then if you change your aperture, if you widen up that opening with a smaller f-stop, then you're allowing more drops of that light to get into that little cup, right? But these things are all like, I'll show you in a second. All right, so with portraits, you want to use those low f-stops to blur the background and create that nice, the photography term is bokeh. So it's this kind of like soft light with little circles and different shapes in the background. And it creates a very narrow depth of field. And as I was saying, what you want to do is, I'm not pointing all the way, but it's like you want to focus on, I don't have anything to point up there. Yeah, I do. I can point. Use this. I use my tripod here. So when you're focusing, set your camera or use your finger to focus right here on someone's face, right in that corner of their eye, right? That's how you're going to get the best focus. That's how you're going to lock in what a human really is. It's right there in the eye, okay? It's not out here. It's in here, right in that corner, either side. You're going to get a good focus every time. If you can put that little dot, if it's controlled by manually on your camera, on your phone. A lot of the cameras, they have settings in the menus that you can go to and choose single point focus. That's what I would suggest for each of you is try to work on single point focus. And then if you're doing landscapes even, single point focus is very helpful because it makes you think about what you want the person to be focusing on. And it may be not the thing that it may be surprising in a way, I guess you could say. All right, so then for landscapes, you can use a higher, like F11. So you see you have focus from the shells here and right here, all the way out to midway through there, and you have a pretty clean horizon. So you're pushing your f-stops up, and but it's drawing in less light. So you have to. There's the drawback that you might have to push up your ISO. But when you're doing these things, and I'll go into it further in a second. So that's my dog right there. So you can experiment with that. See, this is taken with my cell phone. So on the portrait mode here, see, right? So again, for any creature, you want to focus where the eyes are. Her eyes are underneath of her glasses there, but you get the point. So your ISO. When you're shooting your ISO, when it's bright daylight outside, you can shoot the ISO right there, the lower numbers, 100 to 400, because there's plenty of light to go around, and everything is going to be pretty well lit. Then when you have see, I'm in the shade here inside the monument, and so I wanted to get some of the details of these columns here. So I had to push up my ISO some to be able to do that, because I didn't just want it to be super high contrast and just like so there's no detail. So I had to push up my ISO, right?
What was your f-stop?
I think this was a pretty high f-stop because I'm trying to get focus all the way from the column here out to the column here, but not so much out that way. So it was probably, I can't remember at the moment, but you can see the focus moves that much. Because if it was a super low f-stop, like F4 or 5 or 6, it would be stopping focus around here somewhere. So, yeah. And then so this one is actually a drone photo, but I had to push the ISO way up so I could get this early morning shot, right? And it's pretty high contrast, but even those drones, you can control the f-stop and things like that on them. All right, so this is the exposure triangle. Of course, it doesn't look like a triangle, but it will be in a second. So every time you're changing any of these parts, or you're thinking about your aperture, the shutter speed, and I'm pretty sure this is in your worksheet too, it will affect one of the other things. So sometimes people see this as better. So when you change your ISO, then you may have to change the shutter speed in order to get a usable image. So whenever you change one, it might affect the others. So sometimes it's really about experimenting and trying different f-stops, different ISOs. And for me, I literally like got my camera and just spent like a week, put it all manual, and just started experimenting. Just because most likely you're not going to break your camera unless you point it at the sun for too long. Don't point it at the sun for too long. So experiment, like knowing these rules about like the low ISOs, the high ISOs, and knowing the rules about the aperture, the wider the opening, the shallower the depth of field, and knowing your shutter speed. So the shutter speed is one of these things that you can even control with the use of one of those things, a tripod. So if you're going to shoot an image where it may be that, okay, the only way I'm going to get a good image here of this landscape is if I set the ISO super high because I'm trying to shoot it at night, you may need a tripod instead. So then you can bring the ISO to a more reasonable level so it's not all grainy, and then you can set the shutter speed where you wouldn't be able to hold it that still. And even for a phone, like my phone over there, I have it on a tripod, and you can set it on a timer. So even when you're using your phone on a tripod, use a timer. So even that slight touch, like could shake it, So set your phone up, get the shot framed, put it on that 5-second timer, touch it, it'll take the picture, and you got the picture, right?
Or get a remote.
Well, you can use a remote. Even I think the Apple Watch you can use as a remote for your camera on your phone, which is pretty cool. All right, so here we go. The shooting challenge. All right, so I think, did we do part of these already? We did part of these already, didn't we? But let's see here. Shooting challenge. Okay, capture a side subject with the emphasis on depth. Composition challenge. Apply the rule of thirds using leading lines. Guide to the viewer's eye. ISO. Adjust your ISO balance light without adding too much grain. Okay. So there you go. All right, so where were we? How much time do we have left? Okay, 5:15, cool. So what I would do is we'll go ahead and do this challenge. We're going to set up to try to get some pictures. And I'm going to walk around each of you and help you to set your cameras, to look at how we can change the ISO if you don't know how to do that on your camera. And I'll take a few minutes with each of you. Because we've got some time here, which is excellent. I was always worried about running out of time, but it looks like we've got a good amount of time for this exercise. Everybody clear on what we're doing, or no?
What are we doing again?
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is, I'll just say it simply. So we're going to use the exposure triangle. That's a simple way of saying it. So with your smartphone or your camera, let's put it on manual for now on your camera. If you can figure it out, put it on manual and try to get some pictures, changing your depth of field, changing your ISO, and changing your shutter speed. Okay? So first of all, raise your hand and I'll try to come help you put it onto manual mode to begin with. All right, so with a smartphone, it's a little bit different from manual mode. What I would say to you is put it on portrait mode.
Portrait, okay.
Okay, so put it on portrait mode, and then so what you do is walk around, and so take pictures in portrait mode of different objects, right? And see if you can, now get close on the object, and then touch where you want to, and then start taking some pictures of different things using that portrait mode, and then also experimenting with the exposure, tapping, moving up and down, right?
That's right, the problem that I have a lot of times when I do close pitch, I use lights.
Okay, so you're in manual mode here.
Yeah.
And so do you know how to adjust it? So the looks like your f-stops are here.
Mm-hmm.
This dial's for your f-stops. So you see how it's changing the light there? That's just that one.
Okay. What am I supposed to go? 20?
So when you're experimenting, you're going to take some pictures. Like let's say you just want to take a picture of this chips here. And so you want to put your f-stop on the
35 or 3.5?
it's 3.5. That's the largest or smallest number
Okay.
that you can do on this camera. And then so what I would do is I'd go ahead and zoom in on it, right? And then you're going to change your other dial, which is so this is adjusting, that's your shutter speed here.
Yes, okay.
And that's this dial. So you're changing your shutter speed.
Okay.
And so anytime your shutter speed is like 1/something, it's going to be very difficult to hold,
Okay.
like without a tripod.
Okay.
So what that means is anytime so yours turns red too. So it's telling you that it's going to be difficult to hold, right? So what it tells you also is that you can go in and change your ISO sensitivity. See, that's this right here. I'm trying to figure out where your ISO, looking for another dial. Maybe it's this one. No, that's exposure compensation. Maybe it's, no. Where's ISO? Do you have a secondary dial? Maybe it's, nope.
Maybe go to the menu.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
There it is, ISO sensitivity. So you're pushing up the ISO, so you could set it to like 400, right? So you got the image there, and so let's move the shutter speed up a little bit now that we've got a.
Shutter speed go to which one? It's too white over there. I cannot see nothing.
All right, so like to
20.
hold it, it would need to be like 1/60th of a second or something, right? So there you go.
160. Okay.
So you got an image right there, right?
Still dark.
Yeah, it is dark, but you're getting what you're desiring. You're desiring to get just that package, and so again, so we can move the f-stop, and then let's create something like a little bit interesting. So let's put this right there, and then. All right, so there, and then we could move the shutter speed, push it down just a little bit, and we zoom in. All right, so you see the table back there, it's all out of focus.
Okay.
You see the object is in focus. It's well lit.
Okay.
So that's what you want to practice. You want to practice getting things well lit, and you want to practice using those manual settings.
Okay. Can you teach me? Okay, one more time. Okay, you say first you move right here. It's got to be 140.
So anything like 160 and above is okay because you can hold it.
Okay,
Like 160, 180.
No, that's just.
The F you want to keep at the.
Okay, how do you? Okay, this one go.
Yeah, so you'd want to keep that at the smallest number.
Which one?
Yeah, that one that you're returning. That's the f-stop, f5.6.
Okay.
That's the smallest number.
Now, what about this one? How do you move that?
Yep, that's it. You're doing. That's it. Turn it.
140. What number? 130.
You see how much light is coming in now?
Yes.
More light.
Oh, I got you. To make the picture real clear, what number do you recommend?
Real clear.
You know, when you have, let's say you have lights and you take like a pasta or lasagna, and it looks. You ever see the pictures from the posters in Panera Bread?
Yes,
You see how clear they are?
yes.
Okay,
So
that's what I look at.
you'd want to, like a 5.6 is fine.
Okay,
You may need to push up your shutter speed, the ISO a little bit more, which is, I think it was this dial. It was your shutter speed.
press in the center, yeah.
No, that's not it. Oh, there it is. So something like that. So like,
500?
yeah, 400, 500. Yeah, so that's better. Yeah. Well, let me see if anybody else needs anything.
Okay, thank you.
Want to make sure. Do you need a hand, or are you struggling
I
here?
have no idea what I'm doing.
You do? You do?
I have no idea what I'm doing.
You have no idea
I
what
know
you
there's
do.
the ISO button, and I know that puts me back to manual.
Right.
But I
Okay.
have no idea how to do anything with the shutter speed or.
Okay. So, if you look at the back of your camera here,
Okay.
there's a couple of dials. There's one right here, this one,
Okay.
and so turn it and look at the numbers here.
I saw this moving, and
All
I
right,
have no
so
idea what that is.
that's when that's seconds,
Seconds and
6
minutes,
seconds.
I figured. Okay.
And then if it goes the other way, that's fractions of seconds. So
Oh, okay.
so like 1/30th of a second, one.
Okay.
Like
so that's
the
faster, I'm assuming.
yes, faster.
Okay.
So if it's 1/60th, that's about the slowest that someone can hold it.
Okay.
So I would never shoot a picture like anything slower than that unless you can put it on a tripod.
Okay.
But so like if you want to capture motion, you want to have it up into like the 1/200th.
Okay.
So that'll capture motion with the shutter because
Okay.
it's faster. So it's 1/60th of a second,
Okay.
which is fast, right?
Okay.
And then the F, it's 5.6. And did we know which one changed was there a secondary dial?
I don't know. When I moved this, it only changed that. It changed this when I had it on the A.
It must be, is this touchscreen?
I don't know if it's that. Oh, it's this. Is it that?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, so this is changing your depth of field, and which is 3.5, like, I'm asking you, is
Right.
3.5 shallow or is it like wide?
That one's smaller.
Right,
Yeah.
it's
so it'll
a
focus
small number,
on the
which
center.
means it'll like focus on only a smaller area.
Right. Okay.
Right, so good. And then the ISO,
It's on auto.
okay, so that means if you're on manual and it's on auto, it means you're letting the camera decide
Okay.
what the ISO is.
Okay.
So that's okay to do that,
Okay.
but if I would put it over, and then start to think about like what you're taking pictures of, and like what the light is and how you want the light to appear. So like if you're outside in a bright sunny day, then manually set the ISO to 100, right?
Okay.
So that you're controlling it. You're not letting the camera do it.
Okay.
And then if you're inside and you're trying to take some pictures of, people, standing around or whatever it is, there's less light, so push it up to 400, 800
Okay.
manually. And then experiment with those other parts of that triangle, the shutter speed and the aperture, to get those shots.
Okay.
Because when you're leaving it up to the camera like this, then the camera could like push the grain way up, and it may not be a usable picture that you'd want to keep. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So I have another question.
Yeah.
So, and this might be the ones I don't know. So like, I wanted to zoom in on a leaf, but that's as close up as it would let me get.
With your zoom,
Yes. So how do I adjust that?
I
when
mean,
taking the picture.
it
It was as far out as I could get it.
okay. So it's an 18 to 55 zoom. So, are you asking like how you zoom
Do I have
in?
to use a different lens to get it closer on the leaf?
Yeah. So basically, the simplest answer is get closer to the leaf.
Okay, but
Like physically walk up
But
to
if
the
I
thing.
can't, but if I can't.
If you can't, then you have to get another lens.
Okay, that's what I was.
Or you zoom in as much as you can with the lens you have, and then try to get the best possible exposure on it. So that way, when you edit it, you can zoom in with that image or crop out.
Okay. So then with lenses, so then I have one more picture.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I think I have something for you as you leave here. Let me make sure you get it. What did I do with it? Just wait right there. Yeah, here, take a look and make sure you read all this tonight in case there's any questions you have or anything like that. And there's the bonus here for signing up for the class. If you take another thing, then you get the 8x10 for free. And just read over it. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I want to make sure nobody's lost. Are you doing okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What about you? You doing all right?
Well, I'm kind of looking at this. I got to this part.
Right.
I think this is stop there.
Right. That's correct.
And that's a shutter speed.
Correct. So
It's auto ISO. What in the world is that?
So that's your exposure compensation.
Okay,
Like you
I don't
have.
think you can do anything with that.
So
because what I do up here is I scroll this way and then go up and down what I want. Because
Right.
it only has two values for this.
Okay.
3.7 and 11.1 I would be more landscape type stuff.
if you want
But
greater
I do
depth
have
of field,
all kinds
yes.
of bizarre things on here. I have landscape mode, portrait mode, special mode. I mean,
So if you learn to use it in that M mode,
Okay.
then you'll be ahead of the camera because you'll be able
yeah, I
to.
like the auto mode, but I'm a little lazy. But I'm finally I'm trying to picking up what it means. This is good. I can't.
Yeah. So what I was saying was like the 3.7. That means it's going to be shallower depth of field.
Right.
So when you have 1/16, I think that says, or is that 1/10? If 1/10 of a second, right,
Right.
is not, it's pretty slow, meaning it'll be hard to do that, get an image that wasn't blurry.
Oh,
So I would change the 1/10 of a second to make it like 1/60th of a second.
Okay.
See? So 1/60th of a second is quicker, right?
Okay.
So that means when you're
So I
taking
can
that
keep
picture.
This, I don't have a choice, but I can do this to 1/60th. Okay.
So when you're taking the picture, it's going to be easier for you to take it without the camera shaking, right? Because
Well, see,
it's
I
quicker.
noticed too, because it's hard to hold this camera sometimes.
Yeah.
I've also had this thing that I clicked on here and I can do it. Yeah, because if anything shakes, it's going away. Yeah, that's probably what's been going on sometimes then.
Yeah. So you need to put it on 1/60th or even faster, like 1/80th, 1/25th, like those faster numbers. Yeah, those are going to be better, so they're not blurry
Okay.
when you're taking those pictures.
Well, that might be a reason, because I've tried manual mode and I didn't adjust it, so I had some really weird looking things.
You're
Okay,
just avant-garde. You're just avant-garde, I think. So do you have?
I just need to get familiar with my camera again.
Okay, and you've been shooting on manual mode for a while, or you've been putting on a program, or automatic, or what you've been working with?
I have this program, but it's a continuous program, continuous shooting. And I just put it on manual and I spent like 10 minutes or maybe 20 minutes trying to get a...
So right now it's at ISO what, like 20,000.
Exactly.
So that means that like it's just dumping light in there. It's going to be super grainy, whatever you're doing. So try to get it, to like a ISO, like a reasonable ISO. If you want to take pictures of humans, is like 1,000, 800, 1600 at the most, maybe.
800 to 1600?
Yes. And then you start to work with the shutter speed and the f-stop, right, to get it back to be reasonable.
I don't think we have a shutter here, right?
The shutter, you can't control the shutter, but you can control it on portrait mode. And then when you're shooting in a portrait mode, if you hit edit,
Yeah.
so take the picture and then hit edit, and right here, so you can change that depth of field.
Okay.
Do you see how that changes? Like the book gets in focus and out of focus. You see?
Yeah.
So then you kind of control that aperture afterwards. It's like different from like a regular
And
camera.
what is the ISO here? It's the same?
Yeah. So that's your adjusting the f-stop. Now, kind of the best thing to say is like when you're tapping the screen and you're bringing that up and down, that's your exposure.
Yeah, that's it.
And then this is like the f-stop. Yeah, it's the
And
f-stop.
ISO is it's not here.
It's controlled by the computer. So yeah, it's not something you really can control.
Okay.
Yeah. But keep on experimenting with it. And
lucky if you were even in that.
so what have you got? Have you got it to?
Did you get it? Is it
So I don't know where I'm at. I'm at ISO 800.
Okay.
F-stop is
So
25.
okay, 25 means that it's super narrow, right? You need to push it the other way so the number is small. Like the F is like 3 or something like that. Go all the way down as far as you can go to the other end. Right? Keep on going. Yeah, there you go. Like F4. There you go.
Yeah, mine doesn't go down very far.
Now the only other way you can control it is your shutter speed. You get your shutter speed and you change that from 1/500th of a second, which is very fast, and you change your shutter speed to, no, that's ISO again. You want to change the
I don't know.
oh, that's it. No, you had it there. You were doing it.
No, that's
No, that's
Con lo mismo, porque así es que yo stay with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to get there.
There you go. Dial right here.
Oh.
So 1/80th of a second, 1/125th of a second. You see? You see?
Oh, nice.
See how you can control the light there? The faster the shutter speed, the slower shutter speed controls how much light's coming in. You see that?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and then if you come over on the other side of it, like and you're using it this way and pointing at the back of their heads, right? You can even see it even more dramatic. You see? So if you use the light, like I said, like I'm telling him, go over, stand beside him, and you can. Here, I'll show you. Come here.
What? I don't even know how to put it down.
Right? She don't need the flash, right? Over in here?
I don't need the flash.
Yeah. There you go. Now try it.
Here, but come over here. It's more dramatic on the because of the light here. So if you're
So I want this low.
so 1/80th of a second means that it's going to be quick. If it's 1/25th, that's faster. 1/200th, that's even faster.
All right,
Those
so-
are the shutter
So
speeds.
if I'm taking pictures of a building that's not moving, what would I want it on?
You could put it on any rate that you're able to hold it. The smallest would be probably like 1/60th of a second.
Okay.
Because like most people like can't hold something
Okay.
like and press the shutter without it shaking slightly.
Okay.
So you want it to be 1/60th or faster,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Now F22 means that number's real big, but that means that opening's super small.
Okay.
So change the F22 to go the other way, to F like the smallest number that you can get. Right, now leave it there.
Okay.
Now change your ISO sensitivity until you start to see them. It's probably going to be around 800.
Okay.
And now, do you have a display or a heads-up display or anything? There you go. Right. So now focus like on the back of his head, and then zoom in on just the back of his head.
Wait, I can't see on that.
Yep, zoom in just on the back of his head.
Okay.
All right. You see, that's a good exposure where the light is brightest,
Okay.
right? And so that's what you're going for. You're doing it right,
Okay.
and you're balancing things out. So it's 1/60th of a second. It's f5.6, and now you could push up your ISO to like above 800 if you wanted to get more like of his shirt and things like that.
Okay. So I'm gonna be doing more stuff that's probably like outside shots of buildings and things with more natural, brighter light. So then I would go for the.
What would the ISO be?
I have to look at my paper because I wrote it down. I think the higher light was 1 to 400. Or
Yes.
Okay.
Right. You're correct.
Okay. But
Perfect.
the shutter speed would still be.
The shutter speed would increase
Okay.
because it's outside, and you can make that. You can make it more narrow, like you can let in less light because there's so much of it.
Okay. Okay. No.
This thing
Okay,
is driving
thank you.
just crazy. What's this? That's my panorama.
Oh, you shoot forever.
It's like you're going, "Yee."
You're shooting the panorama.
Sometimes I get the panorama, open it up. Other times it's circles. This camera is bizarre.
You ready for a picture? All right, here goes. Ready?
Hope I didn't close my eyes.
No, you didn't.
It turned out pretty good, it looks like. Oh, yeah, I like that. I used to go like DMV for some reason for a few years. And every
Take a picture of you?
time I took a picture, I closed like that.
All right, here goes. Ready?
I did it 2 seconds.
Thank you.
Why aren't you taking pictures?
I'm gonna take I'll put them on my website. Website, but I'll put it in the
You
group.
take a picture of me and I'll take a picture of you.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right. You first. There you go. There you go.
Oh, geez, not too bad. That little face.
You ready?
Here,
All right.
Take this down.
There you go. It's not in the shot anyway. There you go. Wait, let me get one more. There you go. That's it.
Yeah, keep your eyes open.
There you are.
Those ones that blinks.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. So what do you shoot on? You Nikon or?
Nikon. Yeah. Yep. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Here goes. Ready? All right. That's it. There it is. There you are.
Nice. Like that.
You ready?
Sure.
All right. There you go. 3, 2, 1. There you are.
Oh wow. Yeah. See, how do you do that?
You ready?
Here's the skill.
All right. There you go. There you are.
Do I put it in my card?
Wow. So cool.
You ready?
Sure.
All right. Here goes. Let's move back there. About right there. There you go.
Nice.
You ready? There you go. Up. That was a big reflection. Here you go. One more. Nope. All right. I got to change my grip here. Hold on. Ugh. All right. There.
That tall.
Is it because it's reflecting his glasses?
Yes, the glasses. That's it.
Is it that you put it under? Is it that you put it under or over?
It's just the angle. It's all about the angle.
Nice.
But if he had his glasses on, would you put it like under his or
Or
put
to
it
the side.
like you know like this?
So there was the first one.
He gave me those.
Alien. All right. All right, here goes.
Do I have popcorn in my mouth? Okay.
So I'm currently using the Fujifilm camera. So when I use the Fujifilm lens, it is working. Like I can click pictures, but and also sometimes Sigma lenses are working. But I'm gonna head out. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, well, hold on a second. Let me, so this is the bonus for signing in. So read through all that, and then you got the exclusive offer at the back right there for the 8x10, free 8x10 with another class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now I've been trying this lens, but when I'm trying to click the picture, I couldn't click the picture with this lens. This is a macro
Is
lens.
it just this lens?
No.
Yeah, is the, do you have, like, in the camera settings, is there something that's like, that won't let you take a picture if it's out of focus? So set the focus mode to single point. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, set it on single point. And now, so this is a macro lens, right?
Yeah.
So go on something close. Macro is close. I think closer. Yeah, that's it.
You have my permission to post it.
Okay, guys ready? 1, 2, 3.
And I thought,
Are you on social media or are you just doing phone numbers? Okay. Let me. Oh, my number is 757. I'm at, you got my old number. 757.
what do I shoot? I do a lot of traveling, so flowers, botanicals. I just came back from Vancouver.
the professional ones. Yeah, there's cameras out
That
there.
was my top goal. I'm looking for my well pictures, because we want well photos. Architecture, on animals. Don't want to be portraits.
Now we can change this.
And so that's easy, you know, when you travel, you can't take so much stuff. So I carry one lens. I have another lens I like, so it's the fast lens, but, you know, I carry it.
I do sometimes we can have.
My phone is where this is my lens, so it's no.
Don't worry about it, you will get a new website.
Yeah.
Has this ever worked?
I have recently purchased it, like a week.
It's never worked.
Yeah,
It's never worked.
yeah,
Okay.
This is the
It's because
first
this is a manual lens.
yeah.
It's like it's not compatible.
Okay,
It's not compatible. It's not talking to the computer in the.
So camera, I've got all camera lenses and I'll look for you. I've worked with no, I can't put a Sigma. I mean, I'm not changing my camera.
See the.
All lenses for Nikon.
If it was compatible, it would have little contact points. See how this has little contact points for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
computer? See these contact points here?
yeah.
That means right here. That means it's communicating with the computer, and it tells it like that it's ready and it's got everything. But this is this is designed for like a manual camera, so it's not compatible with this.
Got
Right?
it.
It won't take a picture with it
Yeah,
because it won't communicate.
it won't communicate.
So
Yeah, thank you.
that's the simplest explanation
Yeah,
I could say. It's like
like,
I would turn it off before you,
Yeah,
and then keep your fingers away from there before you put the lens back on. Red dot to red dot.
And I just need to, I probably just need to,
Yeah, so that's all communicating with everything. So you got the lens caps for that.
yeah, I can fix it.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
That's interesting because that's not good.
And you want to see now?
All right. So questions?
No, I just need to just get more education and learn my camera again. So,
Remind me what you're primarily trying to shoot.
I am trying to shoot. I shoot underwater. I have an underwater camera.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of underwater photos. I do fast action. I like sports, waters, waterfalls, streams.
Oh.
Food.
So have you experimented with putting your camera on a tripod
Yes.
and then setting the shutter speed really low so you can get that like water flowing effect?
Right. I do, especially when the waves break. I try to do that at the beach.
Okay. Yeah.
If I don't have a tripod, I just set it down and try to catch it that way.
Yeah, you get tripods like real cheap.
Yeah.
Just they got the like ones you can put in your pocket practically.
Also, I'm trying to get into shooting the stars, and that's just really.
Astrophotography, that's another thing.
I've got a few shots, but it's like not good.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. And so you're just starting out with a cell phone, right?
Yeah, just very beginner. I learned so many, just understanding different settings. I got this, what is that?
Across
Grid.
the grid,
And
yes.
then after that, I experimented with portrait.
Did you take some pictures of people with the portrait mode?
Not people, but
You took a picture of me?
Yeah, take.
Yeah. I
So
took-
experiment. Like what you should do is
I took him.
no. So y'all work together and like go near the light over here, and then experiment with the portrait mode and the exposure on the portrait mode.
Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, that's great.
I didn't know that these options, and now I just realized.
Yeah. Well, experiment with the light and the portrait. Yeah, that's good. The portrait mode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can edit.
Yes, they're in my bag.
So do you have any more questions?
No, I'm good. I mean,
Okay.
I just came to
I think
see
we
you.
started a little bit early, so let me make sure if you're going to leave, let me give you a handout, the final handout here. I don't want anybody to leave early, you know. But feel free to stay as long as you want until 6:30.
1 o'clock in the morning, we can stay.
So if you're here, I'll give you that if you're leaving. So I was pointing out this has the special offer thing because you came to the class today. It's the free 8x10 if you participated in another class. So I'll just hand it out to everybody now. But it also talks about so some of you asked about if you wanted to have a.
What is this one?
So this right here is. Some of you asked if you wanted to have like a one-on-one, and this is like a opportunity for a one-on-one photography. Everybody got one so far? Okay. So it's a one-on-one opportunity like in the city of Richmond. It's called the Richmond City Experience. We would go one-on-one, or you could bring one other person with you, and I would just be teaching you like one-on-one for that hour, you know, that we spend, or maybe a little bit more than an hour. And then the other one is a photography walk that's for multiple people. If you wanted to go on, you know, invite 4 to 8 people. It's a little bit more cost effective, but you kind of spread the love around, and you could get some lessons from that too. And then, like I said, from either of these offers or any of my other things that I offer, my services, there's a full page there talking about all my services that I do. If you do any of those services, you get the free 8x10 because you came to the class today.
Do you work on strobes? Can you teach me strobes?
I work on, off-camera lighting. Yeah. Everybody got one? Okay.
Thank you so much for putting this class together. I learned a lot.
I hope everybody came away learning something. Yeah. And make sure you go online, share on the socials and things like that about the class and your experience and things like that. And also, there's one last thing too. If you, I think it's on that flyer there. It is on the flyer. Last page of the. Oh wait, no, it's not on this flyer. Oh, where is it? What do I do with it? If you look up a Facebook group on Facebook, it's called The Joyful Photographer. It's like a private Facebook group where y'all could share some pictures from today. You could talk about your experience, and I don't know what I did with the little handout that I had about it. It's called The Joyful Photographer. Joyful Photographer on Facebook. So yeah, and I'll be sharing any kind of special offers there too. That's it. That's me, a joyful photographer.
Cool. And I'm a fellow VCU graduate myself, so.
Awesome. Go Rams, right?
Right.
I don't know what I did with that piece of paper. Oh, and so like I produce drone images too online. So like, I sell these online if you ever wanted a picture, like skyline pictures of city of Richmond. All the information's on the flyer, my phone number, everything.
If you Google what it says on here, we can find it.
Tobacco Road. It's Rockets Landing, like right here.
Yeah, so this is the south side of the river, and the flood wall wraps around where I took the drone up about 100 feet and shot it.
Cause this is Hull, right? Hull Street, and then Rockets Landing must be out like that way. Oh, it's right there. They go Rockets
So
Landing.
yeah, Rockets Landing is like a sort of around that way.
You
Yeah.
have the moon there too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Was that in the picture or did you put
It's
it
in the
there?
picture.
Oh, cool. Very nice.
I
Yep.
heard tricks.
October.
Take the picture and put it in there.
It was October 2022. Yep. Thank you.
I used to fly drones when you didn't need a license.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, hopefully you got something out of it. I was just showing the drone shot there.
Thank you.
You can see the, so that's one of my pictures.
So,
Thank you.
Is it from mobile? Is it from mobile?
that maybe that's from drone.
A drone.
Oh, drone.
Yeah. Take care. Did you learn something?
Yes.
Good. So it's
Important part is ISO, playing with ISO and shutter speed.
good. It's worthwhile. If one person goes away learning something, then it's worthwhile. So you're an engineer? Or you're studying to be an engineer?
Yeah, I have recently graduated.
Oh, okay.
Finished my master's in information systems and now I'm working as a DevOps engineer in Lululemon.
Lululemon.
Yeah.
Where's that? Where's that headquartered?
Sorry?
Where do you work?
I'm a DevOps engineer.
No, I'm saying like, is it remote or something?
Yeah, it's remote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the company is based in Seattle.
Seattle. Okay. Is that good? Have you liked it so far?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's cool. I don't know much about engineering. That's for sure.
It's like whenever we get an update in our mobile, like if we get Instagram update, a WhatsApp update, we used to get it from the App Store, right? Updates.
Okay.
So that means a DevOps engineer is doing some production deployments.
Oh, okay. So that's you.
Yes.
Well, that's cool. So you're making a difference.
Yeah, actually, I have pinged you on Instagram like a week ago asking for the focal length of the headshots.
Oh, yeah?